Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Destination Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Stoker. We've got a really good show for you today. It's a new friend of mine, and he actually brought another new friend. So I'm excited. We got a combo deal out of this one. So our first guest today is Nick Shekeryk. And I don't know if I said that right, Nick, so please correct me if I said it incorrectly, but
It's Shekeryk.
it's Shekeryk. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
It's all good.
Marketing specialist for Discover Snohomish County and Snohomish County Economic Development. And then he brought along with him Richard Porter, a tourism marketing specialist also at Discover Snohomish County. Richard and Nick, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Absolutely. And Nick is a listener of the show. That's how we got connected with each other, that Nick had listened to the show and reached out, and we decided to do an episode together. And Nick, I'd love to have you maybe just tell us how you found the show and what made you decide to reach out.
Let's see. I was in Arizona. My in-laws have a place down there, so I go visit them. And in this winter, I was down there and looking for stuff to do in the area, Phoenix Mesa. And I was like, let me check out. Is there a Visit Mesa? What's their DMO like? And then I found their episode with you, with City of Mesa, and it was really good. And I checked out a couple other ones, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I didn't know a DMO podcast existed. And I reached out to you, and we connected.
That's awesome. I love that. And, the Visit Mesa team, such a great team. They do great things down there. Pretty fun that my episode popped up because I know they publish a ton of content. So I feel fortunate to have made the cut there, Nick, and I'm glad you found the show.
Yeah, I looked at their stuff, and they had a lot of great content.
And Nick, because you know the show, I like to start with a couple of simple questions just to kind of get to know the guests coming on. So I want to know from you first, Nick, what is your dream destination? If you could go anywhere in the world and you're not allowed to say your DMO, because that's unfair, that's cheating, where would you go? If
I can go to any place in the world, I would go to Japan. I'm into the Japanese culture. I like the orderliness of it, their emphasis on like harmony and collective responsibility. I'm also into their food and their architecture, and I'd love to go there and see a baseball game and a sumo wrestling match. I think it's just great all around. It looks like an amazing place to go.
Can you see that on the same night? Can you see a sumo wrestling and a baseball game all on the same night?
I hope so. I mean, that would be a packed day, but if timing permits, I would do it.
That sounds like an epic date night with my wife. If we were able to go catch both of those things, I think we'd be thoroughly entertained before coming home. That's good stuff. Well, and Richard, we want to get to know you a little bit. I wonder if you'd be willing to share a favorite travel memory that sticks out from you. It could be growing up. It could be recently. I know you have kids that you just kind of shared a little bit with me about off camera. I know that for me, showing my kids new places and new experiences is always a standout. So of any of those, what's a memory that stands out to you from travel?
Yeah, when I was fresh out of high school, I taught English in South America, so I was able to travel quite a bit, and traveling to southern Chile was a really memorable experience. It's sort of like we're up here in the Pacific Northwest, and we have mountains and trees and ocean, but it's that, but a little bit more raw. So beautiful nature that would go back.
So I spent a couple years in South America, and the South American culture is just, it's amazing. It's kind of hard to articulate, but they're such kind and hospitable people. They can have nothing in a lot of cases and still will give you everything they have, like welcome you into their home. If they've only got a little bit of food, they'll give you the food that they have. And I don't know, the welcoming nature of their culture was really, really impactful for me in the time that I spent there.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Well, that's awesome. Sounds like a great experience, great opportunity to go teach English. I'd like to get to know both of your journeys a little bit and what led you to get into destination marketing. I'll go back to you, Nick. If you could kind of share with us what your background was and how you found the industry that we're all lucky enough to be in. I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So I started in journalism. I went to school for English and journalism, and pretty early on, I reached one of my goals, my career goals, which was to be a sports writer for journalism. I got to cover minor league baseball and high school sports. It was pretty awesome. But as you can imagine, being in the newspaper world is kind of a tough industry to be in. And so I kind of pivoted over to digital marketing and content creation. I've done a lot of stuff like, anything from blogging to email marketing to search engine optimization, social media, information architecture, and just kind of everything. And then I kind of, moved a couple of years ago, I moved into a role at the city of Everett in marketing and engagement. And it was a really fun challenge to try to find a way to like build a relationship with my community and to really like connect with the public. Cause there's kind of this barrier where it's like, the government, people don't really fully trust the government. And I felt like I kind of took it upon myself and, worked with my team to really kind of build that bridge where it's like, we're your local government. We're not scary. We're working with you. We're here to, share stuff with you and give you what you need to be able to, to live a quality life in the city. And one of the things I did there, it was a lot. I worked at all the departments basically, and a lot of really serious stuff. But one of my favorite things I got to do was work for the local DMO, which was Visit Everett. And for there, I got to go to music festivals, go to baseball games, and do just walk around and go to coffee shops and write about it. And it was amazing. And I was like, I didn't know this was like a real role. And then lo and behold, this role came about with the county, and it's like, I do that full time. And it's like, are you kidding me? Of course I'll do that. And it's, it's really been fun. I've been here for about a little over a year, and it's been one of my best years of my career, fun wise. And I've been learning a lot, and I've been getting to go around the county and learn a whole bunch of stuff. And, it's really fun, and I really enjoy it. And I just can't believe this job exists. I love it.
I love hearing that, Nick. And what's fascinating is I've talked now to probably over 400 destination marketers, both on this show and some of the other content that I've done. And I would say that the profession that I've heard that led people to tourism more than any other profession is journalism. I mean, journalists, for some reason, recovering journalists is what I would probably say, seem to feel like the destination marketing space is the perfect place for them. And in reality, it is. You're creating a ton of content. You get to flex your writing muscles in a lot of cases, and you understand how to craft a story that speaks directly to an audience. I think a lot of the skills that make a good journalist translate really well into destination marketing. And so I want to come back to that. I want to get back to that part of the discussion. But Richard, before we get too far into the journalism side of things, I'd love to hear your background and what got you into your role that you're in today.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I think if you would have told me 10 years ago I'd be working for the government, I wouldn't believe it. I kind of fell into this job. I also have a writing background, freelance writer, and I joined a local creative agency. They took on a contract with the county, and that agency folded. I was hired in-house. So I like to joke with Nick that we're kind of the unicorns, we're the lone creatives in government. And I don't take that for granted. So it's really interesting. I feel like my days are really like left brain, right brain. I do a lot of creative stuff, but also a lot of like administrative government contracts. It's an interesting balance.
Yeah, for sure. And so today then, tell me kind of the primary roles that you're executing on consistently.
So a lot of my work actually is with tour. I do a lot with tourism and content creation, writing, videography, podcasts, but then I also work with our county's arts commission to do some destination development. We're doing art installations and music festivals, and that's been really rewarding too.
Great. You're one of the few destination marketers that actually gets to have some control over the product that you're promoting. It sounds like you get to do some implementation on that side, which is really great.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that.
Awesome. Well, Nick, let's go back, and it's funny, Richard, I didn't know your background when you shared it with me, but you, of course, have a writing background as well. It just seems like that's such a good preparatory career to get people into destination marketing. So I want to talk about that first. I'm curious, from both of your backgrounds, and Nick, we'll start with you. How did journalism prepare you for your role, and how do you kind of draw from that experience to help you be effective in your role today?
Well, I really think some of the key parts of journalism that have really stuck to me, even further my career when I've gone on, is like, making really emphasizing storytelling. Whether I've worked in the financial industry and fintech, and I've done a lot of different various stuff in tech, but it's some of the stuff can be pretty dry. So it's like you got to really make a story element to it to pull people in, and then have them, really keep reading. And why is it important to keep reading? Got to really drive that. And so it's been really fun to keep that up in this role and do it, and it comes more natural because it is interesting stuff. It's like we're talking to business owners, talking about events, going to, get to ride our bike, ride a bike on Centennial Trail and talk about how fun it is. It's really cool doing that. And then other parts of it that are important to me is like, that I really still stick with is like, really being stats driven. I like to include, stats and information in a lot of things. It really helps, really keep people in, and really helps, drive the truth, which is for me, one of the main roots of it is you gotta be truthful. You gotta tell the truth and stay with it for better or worse. And, there is I guess here we're always just selling good vibes and good times. So it's nice to be able to have that going where it's like, okay, I'm being honest and telling a good story. But yeah, it's nice to be able to be creative too. As Richard was saying, it's really cool to be a government employee in a really highly regulated industry, and to be able to do stuff like, just like, make scarves, or, with scarf makers, or go to a baseball game and talk about it, or just do some fun, wacky stuff on social media. And it's just been, we host a podcast, and it's like, seriously, this is awesome. There's no one else in government doing this kind of stuff. It's really cool.
I love hearing that. That's one of the things that really stood out to me in our previous conversation is you guys have decided to start a podcast. And I feel like, Richard, this might be a good place for me to bring you in, because you mentioned that you're the unicorns, right, in government, that you've got this creative background, you've got a writing background, and you're bringing kind of a non-bureaucratic approach to government. And I think that's really interesting. So tell me about, maybe first of all, Richard, how your background prepared you for this role, and then talk to me a little bit about the podcast that you guys have created.
To answer your question about like bureaucracy versus creativity, and bringing my creative background to bear on that, I think it's, what's really interesting to me is all of the policy that exists, all of the contracts, all the red tape, and applying a creative mindset to that, like using that as a means to have destination development, and using official government channels to promote a place that is desirable for people to not only visit, but live and have a small business. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but
yeah,
that's kind of the premise of our podcast too. It's called Snohomish County Placemakers, and the premise is we talk about, it's broad, but I think it's really captured by, we talk to people and we highlight the people and places that make Snohomish County a great place to live and visit. So we're talking to visitors as tourism, DMO, and we're also talking to residents as economic developers, talking about the same thing from two different sides.
I like to hear that. I have been of the opinion now for a very, very long time that every destination needs a podcast for a variety of reasons. But what's interesting is I kind of feel like there's been a little bit of a shift in why destinations need a podcast. And one of the things that I originally would have said, like when I was starting down the route of podcasting and helping destinations start podcasts, is I felt like visitors needed, if they're going to be using the method that actually Nick said he used, right? If they're going to be searching in the podcast platforms for something that's relevant to the county, well, we got to be there. There's got to be content there. Mm-hmm. As time has gone on, I think the nature of podcasting has shifted a little bit, in that podcasts have they're no longer just these audio formatted things that people use, but they're now more of a content engine that in a lot of cases will have video attached to it. They'll publish it on YouTube. And in some cases, clips from the episode get more attention than the episode itself. Like the original thing was, I'll share a clip, and the intent is to get someone to want to go watch the entire episode of the show. Now it's almost like I share the clip because I think it might get more attention than the show itself. And so that's a little bit of an evolution that's taking place in the podcasting space. And the other change that I think is taking place is I believe that there's not enough messaging vehicles between a DMO and the community that it serves. And in a lot of cases, you guys are doing incredible work, but that work, because of the nature of its design, is happening in other markets, drawing people to come visit your market, and you get very little opportunity to communicate the value of what you do to your local residents and business stakeholders and even political stakeholders. And so I also believe that destinations through podcasting have a new medium or vehicle by which to engage the community and also to provide tangible value by sharing their stories, right? And so I see these podcasts evolving into more of a content engine that serves the community as opposed to a visitor acquisition tool. And as I've seen destinations lean into that, I've seen them build such stronger bridges and relationships with the remainder of the community. So you mentioned, Richard, that you guys are both talking to visitors and engaging with the local residents and stakeholders. How are you thinking about the purpose of your podcast and what your intentions are as far as executions go?
Yeah, balancing those two audiences is a little tricky, but how I think about it is that tourism is the tip of the spear for economic development. Like when we're talking about what makes this destination great, of course, that's what's going to attract people, but it's also getting residents to be a little bit self-aware. When we're talking about how we can build up Snohomish County, what is it that makes us special? What are these experiences and places and people? And what is the character here, trying to portray that through in-depth interviews? And I think some people really like the in-depth interviews, to your point, and some people just want that little bite-size reel. So it's interesting to see that. But I will say this, government communications with their constituents can be stuck in the past. Like a lot of time, I mean, candidly, it's like a press release in the local paper. And that's not what gets through to people anymore. You have to have these other channels. You have to have reels, you have to have podcasts, because that's how people get their information.
Absolutely. Nick, what do you want to add about your show and what you've seen with it?
Yeah, I think it's been just really great to just connect with with people in our community who are doing really cool stuff. My tagline I tell people is like, we talk to cool people doing cool stuff in Snohomish County, and you also know we get to bring people here who visit as well and have really nice stuff to say about it. And we do try to work with what's the word, influencers as well every now and then, and connect with them, and really engage with them on social media and the podcast. So it really helps out. For example, we worked with a local traveling couple called TWB, Traveling While Black, with Anthony and Marley Love, and we did an episode with them, and they talked about they live in Seattle. They talked about coming to Snohomish County and how great it is and how accessible it is and inclusive it is for minorities, and that was really cool. It kind of opens up our audiences and really gets kind of opens up our listenership and expands things. So that's kind of the hope, is like we cover all these different topics and different people, and we're hoping that we kind of reach out our arm to everybody and let them know, like, hey, we're not just here to talk about one thing like sports or like restaurants, whatever. We're here. We're showing the breadth of Snohomish County, and it's welcoming to everybody. And there's something here for everyone. Like today we talked to the only Team USA Olympian in the Winter Olympics, and he's on the curling team. His name is Luke Violette. Go Team USA. We're rooting them on in Cortina. But we got to talk to him today, and he really talked about how he loves Snohomish County and how it helps kind of build his story to become an Olympian, and that kind of stuff just really powerful and unique. And you don't really, you just don't hear that kind of stuff. So and it's a good time right now to kind of bring that into focus. So it's just really cool to connect with all these people who have these really interesting stories, and everything kind of, no matter where they're from or what they're doing, it all kind of connects to Snohomish County. So it's really cool.
Well, I love that you're doing a podcast. I think everybody should go check it out. Tell me the name of the podcast one more time.
Snohomish County Placemakers.
Snohomish County Placemakers. So definitely one that everybody needs to check out. If you followed me for a long time, you know that owned media is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I believe that building communities through owned media is the future of the destination visitor relationship, and I really believe that that's where the industry is going. In this journey, I've discovered that there is a gap in my strategy. And that's the fact that if we don't have an adequate digital home for this community to be created, it's going to be a lot more difficult to connect that media to the correct audience. This is why a lot of the websites that are existing in the industry are no longer relevant and no longer working the way that they're supposed to. If your website is nothing more than a glorified directory or a series of listings about the different attractions, restaurants, dining establishments, hotels in your destination, you're only scratching the surface on what people are actually looking for from a destination website. The website of the future is a content hub, and of course it's going to be integrated with AI, but a content hub where people can go learn about your destination and interact with the content that is most relevant to where they are in their buyer journey. If all you have is a bunch of buttons that say buy now, buy now, buy now on your website, you are not serving your audience. We want to build a community of people who are passionate about visiting the destination, and we can build that relationship through content. I have partnered with an organization called Destination Core, and together we have reimagined the destination website to be this content hub that I'm describing, where you can build a community. And Destination Core is an incredible company out of the UK. They've built, at this point, hundreds of destination websites, and I'm so thrilled to have built this new reimagined website concept with them. We are rolling it out right now with several pilot clients, and it's going amazingly. I can't wait to show you those pilot projects. If you're interested in being one of the first to experience this new reimagined website concept for destinations, reach out to me at adam@thebrandrevolt.com, and we can get that conversation started. When you reached out, Nick, one of the things that I wanted to address and talk about for our audience that I think is going to be really beneficial, there's a few things happening this year that are kind of converging as far as events go, and destinations need to be prepared. And I think there's a lot of destinations that are not prepared. There's a lot of destinations who don't feel like they need to prepare, but they actually should be preparing. And when we talked about the World Cup specifically, you mentioned that you're preparing, and I want to go to specifically how you referred to it, of what kind of destination you're seeing yourself as. I believe you said, and again, I'm looking through our notes here, did you call yourself a secondary destination as far as the World Cup goes? Is that how we described you?
Yeah, because we're not a city hosting matches, so we're kind of trying to catch all the downfall of some of those other matches. So for us, I think we're in a really honestly ideal location, probably more so even than, dare I say, the actual hosting cities themselves, because our county is, we're 15 miles from Seattle, where the matches are happening at Looming Field, or they're going to be rebranded as Seattle Stadium. And we are less than 100 miles from BC Place in Vancouver, where the matches are taking place. And then Payne Field, which is probably one of the best airports in the country, if not the best. You can go right in. You can get in through security in like 5 minutes, and there's like 2 gates in this little lounge, and it's
nice.
Beautiful. And if you haven't flown Payne Field, it's the way to go anytime you come up this way.
Okay, I haven't. I got to try it.
But you could fly directly there to and from San Francisco and Los Angeles, which are also hosting games in the Western region. So basically, all 4 locations for the Western region, Seattle, Vancouver, LA, and San Francisco, you can get there the most accessibly from Snohomish County. And yeah, it's just really cool to be in that position. I think it's really unique. And one cool thing is, like, in the opening round, TUSA is playing in the Western round, in the Western division. So yeah, if you want to see the local team, you can get there through Snohomish County.
I love it. So, and maybe Richard, I'll bring you in for this part of the conversation. I think there's a lot of destinations out there who are kind of thinking, well, I'm not a host city, so this isn't going to affect me a ton. And maybe there's people that recognize, yes, this is going to affect me, but I'm not sure what to do. How did you guys decide, okay, we know this is coming, we have a plan, and here's what we're going to do? Like how did you kind of develop your plan for what you were going to do to maximize the opportunity?
Yeah, to answer your question, I mean, we knew this was coming for a couple of years, so we referred to it in our strategic plan we put out every 4 years, and we started planning in earnest about a year ago, thinking about how we work with our partners to communicate to their communities what's coming, because there's 750,000 people who will be traveling the Interstate 5 corridor between matches.
Mhm.
How do we draw some of those people off the interstate into our communities in a way that provides economic stimulation without completely overwhelming those communities? So we started to put together a strategic plan. We put together a toolkit for our partners so that they could market the World Cup in an appropriate way. Like, there's a lot of litigation that can happen if you don't market it correctly. So there's some education, and then we put together different phases of ad campaigns to raise awareness of our destination, drive people to book lodging, and then we're going to have some in-destination marketing when they're here. But it's a lot.
Great.
We've been talking about this for 2 years, and I think everybody's a little bit like World Cupped out at this point, but it's huge.
Yeah, don't get tired now because it's about to happen. So this is the home stretch here, right?
Yeah, it's kind of going back to like, positioning it. We've kind of, with the county being kind of in that nice spot, we kind of positioned it as the place to stay, play, and explore when the World Cup's happening. And even though we aren't a host city, we invite people to come here and stay and explore and visit. We have over 2,000 square miles of land between the Salish Sea and the Cascade Mountains, and there's just tons to do here and tons to explore. And we have a designated fan zone at the Port of Ever, which is going to be amazing. And it's just you can get here, you can get in and out of get into the fray of it in the cities, and then come back and retreat to Snohomish County and still enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's inevitable if you're going to a game with the number of people going to a game, there will be chaos in and around the stadium, right? Like, if you're one of those people that gets overstimulated, I would say that the World Cup game is going to be the worst place for you because it will be very overstimulating. I don't know what the U.S. version of Vuvuzelas is going to be, but there's going to be something, right? And so to position yourself as, yeah, sure, go experience the chaos of the game, but then experience the peace of Snohomish County after, man, I think that's a really compelling message for visitors. And I think those that are super fans of soccer, but don't necessarily love the chaos of, like, I can't go to Costco on a Saturday. That's something I can't do. I can't go to Disneyland on a holiday, right? Like, those things, I'm incapable of being patient in those scenarios. And if there's people like me, Snohomish County is going to be a much more appealing place to stay than maybe in downtown Seattle or something like that. And so anyway, I love the idea of building a strategy around, you get all the benefits of the game, but if you're not the person that loves the chaos, then you're going to like this a whole lot better than staying in Seattle.
Yeah, another nice thing about it too is, like, we have, for people who probably don't come in here and driving, people are coming here from all around the world, they'll be taking public transportation. We have a light rail system that's really quick, gets you from Snohomish County to Seattle in like less than 30 minutes, and it's like $2 or $3. And we got trains here. They're going to be probably, I think, updating their times for World Cup specifically, running more often. You ride the ferry to across the Sound. It's beautiful, and it's really accessible to get to.
That's great. Well, Richard, I want to go to you because one of the things that I know you guys created together in preparation for the World Cup is kind of a stakeholder toolkit, because like you mentioned, you can get yourself in so much trouble trying to market the World Cup if you do it the wrong way. And there's also just a lot of content that the DMO has access to that the individual stakeholders might not have access to. And so you guys have built kind of this toolkit that helps guide them through the process of hosting, or even being a secondary city hosting the World Cup. Tell me about why you created that toolkit and the benefits you feel like it's bringing to the community.
Yeah, we represent a lot of smaller cities and municipalities that may be underfunded or don't have a large marketing budget, or even anybody doing marketing. So I think the thought was really to remove as many barriers as possible. So we created this toolkit, which has stock copy with all the appropriate phrasing, nothing that will get you sued. We have images that don't have logos or FIFA or anything. Tried to create these packages. Social media copy, you can just copy and paste. Hashtags you can use. Just trying to make that barrier as low as possible, so when you have somebody in the outlying community who's wearing all the hats, and they have 5 minutes to throw together a World Cup post. It's just as easy as possible.
Yeah. I love that. Nick, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, so on that photo library, we have over 100 photos in our library to use. Listeners out there, if you go to discoversnohomish.com, discoversnohomishcounty.com, discoversnohomishcounty.com, you can log into there and use the photos if you'd like for your own stuff as well, for posters or whatever. We have branding guidelines in there, and we have some videos we made. We worked with our marketing partner to create some really cool videos featuring this scarf that we made. And Adam, we had one sent to you. I don't know if you got it yet, but we sent one to you. So hopefully you'll be...
Oh man, I haven't gotten it yet, but I haven't got into the office yet. So it might be sitting on my desk waiting for me.
Hopefully, yeah. So you'll be joining the hashtag Snowco Game Day team pretty soon with your cool
I will
scarf.
share that on LinkedIn when I get it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah. And yeah, so we've just, like Richard said, we've just been really trying to put stuff out there to really make it easy for businesses and partners to have information ready to go and resources and tools, because yeah, this whole World Cup thing, even though we've been going at it for a couple of years and know it's coming, it's just so nebulous and so huge, and there's just no guidelines to it. It's just like, basically we keep hearing, here's what you can't do, and there's no here's what you can do. So we're trying to just kind of provide that. And if you keep telling people no, but not solving any problems, they just tune out. And so, we kind of saw that early on. So we've been really trying to, engage and re-engage our community and let people know, hey, here's some stuff. We might not know what we can't do, but here's what you can do, and it'll keep you safe and away from, legal issues. And yeah, we've been going, our team has been going around to a lot of the Chamber of Commerce's and working with some community partners marketing partners to go, share about the toolkit we have, and just talk about all the exciting stuff you can do and how to use it. We've been partnering with the local Snohomish County Sports Commission and on these, and they've been talking about the watch parties and how you can go about doing that as well. And yeah, there's just a lot to it, but so that's why we're kind of all working together to make sure that all the communities and people know, here's a place to find everything, here's resources, here's how to make it happen.
What's the reaction been like from the stakeholders and community from you putting this toolkit together for them?
There's been a range of reactions from relief, thank you, I can't believe we have some stuff ready to go, to what's World Cup? Yeah, and everything in between. But I'll tell you one thing that people are completely excited about. Two things. Well, Richard talked about one of them, but the scarves that we've created, you'll show later. They have it's kind of like a vignette of all the Pacific Northwest things and soccer balls, and it's really cool. Made by the Seattle company that also made the Seattle Sounder scarves, and so they're really official and legit. And people love them, and they sometimes will talk and blah blah blah, and they'll be like, whatever, I want a scarf. And so that's been fun. And the other thing people are really excited about are the soccer ball installations we're going to be having around from the Arts Commission. So you can talk more about that, Richard.
Oh, yeah. So the Arts Commission is doing an activation where we're putting up 5 giant soccer balls around the county and doing an interactive map. So yeah, it'll be a scavenger hunt and a way to just circulate folks throughout the county, show off some of the places that may not be, they'll be a little bit more off the beaten path, as a way of getting people spread out.
I think that is such a brilliant move to come up with something that's very content worthy, right? Like when people find these giant soccer balls around the county, you're going to get some great promotion from the content that comes, user generated content. But then on top of that is a strategy around distributing visitors. It's not like you're going to put it next to the most popular restaurant in town because they don't need the traffic, right? And so you have the opportunity to put it where people might not get that traffic, and that benefits the community as a whole. I think that's a brilliant strategy to capitalize on all the additional people that are going to be coming to town. I want to ask you guys a final question here, and I'd love to get each of your thoughts. You're doing a lot of really interesting and unique things to prepare for the World Cup. How are you going to evaluate whether or not your efforts were successful when it's all said and done?
I think one of the important things we're trying to do is really, so we're trying to draw people in right now. We're trying to build awareness about Snohomish County, trying to put ourselves on the map in specific cities that we ran our campaign in cities that have an MLS, Major League Soccer presence and or fans that aren't having their own matches there. Cities like Denver or Portland or Cincinnati around the country, just to be like, hey, we exist. Come here and watch some soccer. And then, the next thing is trying to get people to come and stay here. And we're really kind of pushing out like, hey, Snohomish County is the place to be for all the matches. Come stay here. You got to be here. And then once we get people here and the matches happen, we're really trying to get people to kind of enjoy it so much that they want to come back. Maybe not just like one time, but like, they're gonna keep coming back, and they kind of build kind of a sentiment with sentimentality with Snohomish County. And like one really thing that's always on my mind is like after the last World Cup in Qatar, for the 18 months after World Cup, they had a 10 to 999% month over month visitor increase. So I think that's just so much opportunity, for Snohomish County and just the whole state and the whole country in general, North America, to really build off that excitement. You got soccer coming here. People are going to be here for soccer, but they'll also want to check out the culture and the communities and all the fun stuff going on, the activations. Build on that and bring that and try to find a way to make that permanent, to have people come in here all the time.
I love it. What about you, Richard? Anything to add?
Yeah, I sort of have 3 personal metrics that I'd use to gauge success. I think the first, and I alluded to this earlier, is like seeing small businesses and small communities thrive without getting completely crushed by the crowds. I don't know where that line is, but I hope that people can find that, Second is activating public transit. We're going to need to pull a lot of people off the interstate, like I said. So we're going to try to direct them to bus routes and bike lanes. And I hope some of that, getting locals to think that way, will live past World Cup frenzy, and that'll be more of a norm. And then finally, I think like this is our chance, and by us, I mean Snohomish County, to be on a global stage. Like, we're going to have the world's eyes on us. And so how do we want to present ourselves? What do we want people to see when they come here? I hope that is a moment of self-awareness for our destination and helps us to further define who we are.
Well, you guys, it's really fun to see what you're doing. I mean, you're a team of 2 people that is doing some pretty major initiatives, including hosting your own podcast, doing these major art installations around town, preparing a toolkit for the businesses to use to support the World Cup and maximize the impact. You're getting a lot done. And so it's really fun to learn about the things that you're doing. And if people maybe want to learn more about some of the things that you're up to, or maybe want to catch up with what your podcast is, or any of that type of stuff, what's the best way for them to get a hold of each of you? I'll start with Richard and then go to Nick.
Sure. Yeah, you can check out our podcasts on Apple Podcast or Spotify, Snohomish County Placemakers. Visit discoversnohomishcounty.com. Email Nick or I if you want to do any collaborations. You want to do the social plugs?
Yeah, if you want to find us on social, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram at Discover Snowco. And if you want to get one of these cool scarves that Adam's going to show you, we're doing a weekly exchange. We don't do giveaways because we're government. We're doing an exchange where we'll give you a scarf, and you got to take a photo of yourself wherever you are and send it to us. And so, Adam, hopefully you can send us a video or
we're doing it. We're doing the exchange.
Yeah, we're trying to get Snohomish County on the map, so we're sending our scarves out into the world. We've got them. I've heard they've got seen them in Japan, Germany, Mexico City, trying to get Snohomish County on the map and just out there. So yeah, just follow us, follow our posts, and we do a lot of fun stuff on there.
Fantastic. And I will most definitely share mine, and I'm excited to do that. I'm going into the office tomorrow to to see if it's there on my desk. Awesome. You guys, thank you. Thank you for taking the time and for sharing the hard work that you're doing in Snohomish County. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
And thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to leave us a rating or a review. It really helps us to continue to bring you amazing guests like Richard and Nick. Thanks everybody, and have a great week. If you haven't heard of CMO Jam yet, honestly, where have you been? This has been one of the coolest things I've ever had the opportunity to be a part of. In August, we brought together 12 of the most brilliant marketing minds in the destination marketing industry, and we were able to talk through the challenges, difficulties, but also wins and successes. And we talked about the future of destination marketing. We talked about the impact that AI is going to have in our industry. And it was such an amazing opportunity to spend an entire day with some of our brightest peers and watch them interact and discuss the challenges that they're going through on a daily basis and how every destination marketer can plan for the future. CMO Jam was a massive hit, and it's now being released as episodes. You can find them on Brand Revolt's YouTube channel. You can find them on Tourism IQ. I've shared the link to them on my LinkedIn, and I can't wait for you to see what happened at CMO Jam. Give it a listen.